Okay, so I just took a little break to get outside in the sun and talk to my carpenter, who's an atheist, and get to bug him a little bit about this book of Job and help him do a job. But anyway, so now we're on to chapter 6 on this beautiful coronavirus quarantine time period. And Job's friend is trying to encourage him after all this horrible stuff that happened to him. So, chapter 6. Then Job replied, "If only my anguish could be weighed and all the misery be placed on the scales, it would surely outweigh the sand of the seas. No wonder my words have been impetuous. The arrows of the Almighty are in me. My spirit drinks in their poison." I felt like that before. I felt like a porcupine. But that was when I fell in love. I called it Cupid's arrows. Just shot out. Yeah. But the arrows of the Almighty are in me and my spirit drinks in their poison. That's weird. So God likes to shoot us with poisonous arrows? That's weird. God's terrors are marshaled against me. Does a wild donkey bray when it has grass? Or an ox bellow when it has fodder? No, we don't cry and scream and get angry when we have what we need, do we? No. I mean, I know adults that do that. If they don't get exactly what they want, they throw little baby hissy fits. Is tasteless food eaten without salt? Sometimes, if you're on a diet. Or is there flavor in the white of an egg? Not really, but yeah. I refuse to touch it. Such food makes me ill. Wow. So, my dad told me if you're hungry enough, anything will taste good. Almost anything. But just don't eat anything unclean. Oh, that I might have my request, that God would grant what I hope for. That God would be willing to crush me, to let loose his hand and cut me off. Then I would still have this consolation, my joy in unrelenting pain, that I had not denied the words of the Holy One. What strength do I have that I should still hope? What prospects that I should be patient? Do I have the strength of stone? I've swallowed lots of stones in my life, spiritual and emotional stones. Is my flesh bronze? Do I have any power to help myself now that success has been driven from me? That's an interesting concept. I was aiming to be a successful mother and a successful teacher and poet and writer and get a successful job. But because of past mistakes that I guess I am never going to be forgiven for, I guess my success now is people are trying to drive it away from me, maybe. I don't know what their issues are. A despairing man should have the devotion of his friends, even though he forsakes the fear of the Almighty. But my brothers are as undependable as intermittent streams, and as the streams that overflow when darkened by thawing ice and swollen with melting snow, but that cease to flow in the dry season and in the heat vanish from their channels. Yeah, I've got some people like that in my life. Yep. But that's okay. They have the right to channel surf on whatever channel they want to. Caravans turn aside from their routes. They go up into the wasteland and perish. The caravans of Tema look for water. The traveling merchants of Sheba look in hope. They are distressed because they had been confident. They arrived there only to be disappointed. Now you too have proved to be of no help. You see something dreadful and are afraid. I've got a friend who's got arachnophobia. If she sees a spider, she screams like a little girl. And I have people who say they're afraid of me. Whatever. Have I ever said, give me something on my behalf? Pay a ransom for me from your wealth? Deliver me from the hand of the enemy? Ransom me from the clutches of the ruthless? Well, that woman that was trying to kill me, I'm glad I had people call 911. That was pretty ruthless. Teach me, and I will be quiet. Show me where I have been wrong. How painful are honest words. But what do your arguments prove? Do you mean to correct what I say and treat the words of a despairing man as wind? How about a despairing woman? You would even cast lots for the fatherless and barter away your friend. I know people like that too. But now be so kind as to look at me. Would I lie to your face? Relent. Do not be unjust. Reconsider, for my integrity is at stake. Is there any wickedness on my lips? Can my mouth not discern malice? I can discern malice. I've had a lot of people with malicious intent towards me, and a lot of people assume the worst of me. They also assume that I am malicious. And so that's interesting because the root word of malice, mal means bad. So some people just assume that I'm just bad. I'm just nothing but bad. I'm just bad. And they glorify people like Angelina Jolie, who plays Maleficent, because she's beautiful. So beautiful is good, not so beautiful is bad. They glorify and think people like Johnny Depp are awesome. Some people do. But he's strung out on drugs and alcohol and all sorts of crap, and he's in the news doing all sorts of domestic violence stuff, and wow, he's a weirdo. They think I'm a weirdo. You know, I know I've met some weirdos, local weirdos. And some of them are nice. Some of them are not nice. And some of them are psychologists. And some of them are lawyers and writers and actors and professors. And some of them I've met are homeless. Some of them I've met are housed, but they're in the service industry. Bartenders, cooks, waiters, teachers, police officers, fathers and mothers. Some of them don't have contact with their kids. Some of them have had a history of violence. Some of them have been arrested and put in jail. And some of them have had their partners relapse on whatever street drug and go bananas and bonkers and lose their house, and just, there's some crazy makers out there, major crazy makers. I like fun crazy, not dangerous crazy. So that's the end of chapter 6 in the book of Job. I think this is an exciting book. There's just so much going on in this book. It's all about friendship and fear and judgment and all these horrible things that happened to Job. He's just horrible. Horrible. I can't imagine losing all of your children and then having your house gone too, and losing your job and your cars destroyed, and just, God, I'm the only one left alive to tell you about what's happened to me in some situations where I'm just thankful I walked out away from a situation alive. Unlike some people I know that aren't on the earth anymore. So onwards and upwards.